one of the things I really advocate for in education is that we are continuous learners, that we continuously grow and try new things. We take risks in front of the people that we actually serve. And I pride myself that I'm not the smartest person you'll ever meet. That's very for sure. But I always try new things. I'm willing to try things, whether it's with my mental health, with my growth in the profession. I want to do some new things. And recently I used CapCut to edit some of my videos, and I've really been trying to learn the process, but they actually had a ability to record the screen. So you could actually be on the screen and share something real time. Now I know there's other programs that can do this, but I've always wanted to try. I couldn't figure out the program, but they had this time. So in today's podcast, you can listen to it, and I tried my best to articulate this through, just an audio medium. But if you were to watch this on YouTube, which if you are here, thanks for being here, like and subscribe, because you're supposed to say that. I shared about a tweet that I saw recently that kind of reinforced something I had went through. I remember actually that someone had reached out to me about keynoting a conference, and I asked them how they found me. And they said that they actually looked me up, or they actually asked on ChatGPT who would be a good speaker in education on the topic of innovation. And my name is the first one to come up, which I'm honestly blessed. And I didn't really understand how that happened. I don't know how this happened. I understand that Google, when people get Googled, and so this is going to happen a lot more. So I was kind of floored, and I thought about it a lot. Then I saw this tweet, and I'm going to talk about it today and kind of go through the thread of the tweet, give you some of my thoughts, why it matters to education, why it matters to our students and what they're creating in our schools, and just kind of give you some food for thought. I also wrote about this in my blog, but I wanted to try this so you can actually see the tweet, you can see the context. And it was just a random tweet that I found. And, one of the things I always think about is that when you kind of focus on something, those things tend to find you. And I think that's what kind of happened here. But I wanted to try this out, something a little bit different, because I want to try some new things. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get some. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Write down in the comments what you thought about the process or even the ideas I shared. So thanks for being here. Another episode of the Innovators Mindset Podcast. Recently, someone reached out to me inquiring about having me join their district for their opening day keynote. And we got on a call. It was really fascinating to me. Just this person was not an educator. They had never heard of me before, but they wanted me to come speak. And when I asked them, how did you find my information? How did you connect with me? What they had said kind of shocked me. They said, we actually found you through ChatGPT. I just threw in an inquiry into ChatGPT, and it actually suggested you right away. And it was the first time I had ever heard that somebody actually had reached out to me because of ChatGPT. And this is going to happen more and more, right? When you're looking at this, I'm getting more and more comfortable using this. I don't think using artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, is really, really that hard. It's the habit. And I've said this before, when you think about if you're anywhere near my age, to use Google is not intuitive. You actually had to get in a habit. Now you don't really think about it. And it's kind of starting to happen for me with ChatGPT. So when that happened, it kind of blew my mind. And I know this seems like a stretch, but something I've advocated for years is digital portfolios. And I've seen digital portfolios have the potential to have a huge impact on learning. And even though I started mine 15, 16 years ago, it's still relevant to this day because it allows you to share different ideas, different thinking. And what's really neat about it is that you can do different mediums. When people think of a portfolio, especially like a blog as a portfolio, which is what I've used, I use a WordPress platform, which is something I've been advocating for students for the longest of times. The reason I love it is because it allows any media that you have access to basically be actually inserted into that in some way. So when I saw this tweet, and I apologize, it's from Hosan recently, it really kind of caught my eye because it made me think about how things are different. So I just want to kind of read this to you. And also, by the way, I'm using this on CapCut. This is a new feature that you can record screen so that I can actually walk you through something while looking at you. So the tweet here, it says, Google is dying. Companies are seeing an 800% increase in traffic from AI search tools, which means your next customer will come from ChatGPT, not Google. Forget SEO. Here's why LLM language learning model, I think. And again, I'm not an expert in this. I'm just trying to learn this stuff. Engine optimization will blow up your business instead. This is something I've really kind of thought about a lot over the years. One of the things that's really interesting, I was working with a speaker and I was sharing her information with a group. And when I Googled her name, what was fascinating to me was another speaker's name had popped up. When I Googled her name and just added speaking at the end of it, I thought that was really, really strange. So I thought maybe this is a company she had worked for. But what it was is someone actually bought Google AdWords, and they basically took advantage of someone Googling her to find them first. And even though they talked about similar topics, and this is the interesting thing is that I don't know, and this is really early in this technology. I don't know how people can actually, buy search words, buy AdWords from artificial intelligence. Obviously, with any technology, there's ways you can game it. But this is something that I really kind of struck me, and so, when you think about SEO and people buying AdWords and things like that, it's going to actually change. So Hosung goes on, large language models, I think I said something different, are revolutionizing how we find information. Unlike traditional search like Google that matches keywords in your query to keywords and websites, LLMs understand context, intent, and nuance. The result, LLMs can provide direct, comprehensive answers to even the most complex questions. And the data is clear. Between October and 2023 and January 2024, ChatGPT's traffic surpassed Bing. Now, I know there's a little bit more, but I kind of want to go into something that I thought was very, very interesting. And I captured this. And you can see there's a lot of tweet. Actually, you can see the tweet. You can actually see the tweet I'll link it down below so you can go through it yourself. One of the things he shares is, first, forget about cramming keywords. LLMs don't just match words, they understand ideas. They want content that explains topics thoroughly and answers specific questions. Focus on creating helpful, in-depth content that a human would find valuable versus cramming in keywords. So this is where I wanted to kind of talk about portfolios. So I've been advocating for blogs as portfolios, and there's different ways you can use this. I have a ton of information. Again, I'll actually link to all the work I've done in blogs and portfolios over the years, so you can go into it and dig deeper more into this topic, is because this isn't just you putting a link to a resume. It's you sharing ideas, sharing your learning over time. And one of the reasons I've been a huge advocate of this is because there's a focus on literacy, and specifically reading and writing. And now, obviously, as I said earlier, you can use different things. You can embed videos, you can embed media, whether it's images, audio, whatever. But now you can't just game the system by throwing in keywords. It is looking for basically expertise. And one of the things I've always shared is it's amazing we can bring experts into our communities, but how about sharing our expertise to the world? And that's something I've been advocating for in this space. So Hosung goes on to say, second, embrace conversational formats. Users are increasingly phrasing searches as questions rather than keyword strings. A 20% increase in query length since 2020. Voice searches are even more conversational, with 70% being phrased in natural language. So even this podcast I'm doing right now, or this video, it is interesting because I actually, just having this conversation and sharing this with you, this might be something that maybe not ChatGPT right now, in the future probably, we'll be able to find in the space as well. That basically, even if you're doing audio, it's not just looking for writing, it's looking for different things and looking for that conversational space. And then he goes on, he says, third, organize your content in ways AI can easily understand. This means using clear headings, structuring information logically, and adding special tags to your website's code. Websites that organize their information clearly are much more likely to feature in search results. Probably about, I think it was 2011, I read an article. And again, I blogged about this as well. So you might be reading or seeing this video in my blog. One of the things that I actually said is that basically in 2011, this post was written that your resume is going to be dead in 10 years. It's going to be your digital portfolio, what you do online. And so whether, I don't think the person actually had an inkling of what AI was going to become, but because of the advocacy of knowing this too, understanding how to leverage these things, if you take a resume And, that's one way you can find a job. But what about Googling stuff, right? Most of the employers I work with, they Google everyone that they look at. But now it's going to go into this ChatGPT phase. And do people actually understand this? It doesn't really help, if it doesn't really help to create an amazing resume if no one ever sees it. And so teaching our kids actually how to leverage this is going to be something that's really, really powerful. He goes on to share this. Fourth, be a genuine expert, not just someone who sounds like one. AI systems prefer content from trusted sources who demonstrate real expertise. They look for content from established authorities, information backed by evidence, and accurate, trustworthy information. Now, I always get a little uncomfortable with the term expert. And the reason behind that is because I think it's important to try to develop expertise, but being an expert is not something you determine, right? That's determined by others if they actually see that you have expertise. So the way I like to phrase this is, just share your learning, share the stuff that you're learning. And I think this will actually take care of that space as well. And so the last one he shares, which I find interesting, or he shares more. He says, fifth, think multimodal. Future AI search won't just process text. It will understand images, audio, and video. Creating diverse content maximizes your chance of being cited by AI systems. The businesses that adapt quickly will thrive, but those that don't, they'll disappear. By 2028, LLMs are projected to capture 15% of the search market. The global LLM market will grow by 36% annually from 2024 to 2030. The revolution is just starting. He goes on in that tweet. Looking at these trends, one thing becomes crystal clear. In an AI-driven world, authenticity and authority aren't just nice to haves, they're survival mechanisms. The founders who thrive will be those who establish themselves as genuine experts in their fields. Why? As we saw above, when LLMs decide what information to surface, they prioritize established voices who consistently demonstrate expertise. And that's an important one, consistently. You can't just write a blog post one time or make a video one time. This is where the strategic personal brand becomes invaluable. Again, I'm not a big fan of the branding situation. Just share your learning online. It's no longer just about self-promotion. It's about building a digital reputation that both AI and humans recognize as authoritative. The most forward-thinking founders understand the shift isn't just about technology, it's about trust. And a personal brand is how you generate trust at unprecedented scales. And so I'm gonna kind of stop with the reading this because there's a lot of information here that I think is really, really powerful. Again, the tweet will be down below, but again, let's go back to thinking about the purpose of school. What is the ultimate purpose of school? And I think it's really to ensure that students have every opportunity to find success in a way that matters to them. That to me is my drive on what I see as helping school. Or, what schools should do for our students. And sharing their expertise to the world, learning how to leverage these things, it's not just about creating a space where they go and apply for jobs and they have information, but thinking about, does opportunity find them? And going back to the beginning of this conversation, what I think is really, really powerful is when someone reached out to me, it's not because I asked to speak at their opening day. It is because they found me through AI, not a Google search now, which I'll tell you, the Google search still happens, obviously, but through AI, they found me. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm actually sharing this because this happened totally unintentionally. I had no idea the impact of this when I started creating content, when I started sharing stuff, that it would actually make that people could find me. I didn't understand. That's why I started to do it, is because I didn't understand and I wanted to figure it out. Because if we're trying to get kids to do this stuff, how can we effectively teach them if we can't figure it out ourselves? So I went first. So what I did unintentionally for myself, I'm actually trying to do very intentionally for our students. So I just wanted to share this tweet with you because I thought it was really fascinating. Again, it is linked down below. I've also linked some information on portfolios. I wanted to try out this feature. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well. You might be listening to this as a podcast, so you might not have seen some of the things. So I tried to read as much as possible so you can listen for them. But obviously, you can check out this video on YouTube. You can see the visuals alongside of it. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.